You my little boo thing. She's scaring me. Everyone scare me.
Right? Sure. Okay. Loneliness, lack of judgment, attention. Yeah. Let's just go with that. Chalk it up. Loneliness. Okay. That warrants talking to it like this and coming to me and said, yeah, I believe it. You didn't believe it.
Allison's a few years old, and she already sleeps really well in her own room every single night. Her parents put so much effort in trying to make this room cute for her so that she actually wants to sleep in there at night. They have those giant letters that spell out her name on top of her bed, Alison, and she loves it. That's her favorite part of her room. She never sleeps. She never complains. She goes to her closet. She checks inside her closet. There's no monsters. She checks under her bed. There's no monsters. Which, I mean, if someone is like, Daddy, there's monsters under my bed, it's creepy, but it's still understandable considering she's 3 years old. But Allison has zero complaints until one night. Allison's parents are passing by. No screens in her room. Nobody's in the house. They don't have guests over. And they have never even heard this voice before at all. And it just says, "Wake up, Allison, you little..." What? Who the hell is talking to their 3-year-old like that? They slam open Allison's door and they're checking everywhere. They're checking the closet, the window, under the bed, the bathroom. Allison is getting confused. Like, what is going on all of a sudden? And all they see is the camera, the baby cam, pointed directly at them. It just moved. And it says, "To Allison's mom." the first link and it feels illegal to even be on here. You feel like you're on the FBI's radar. You are suddenly inside of somebody's living room, watching the homeowner sit on the couch. They're knitting. They're periodically glancing at the TV and knitting. And you're like, do they know that I'm watching this right now? The next camera you click is CCTV footage outside of someone's house. Again, do they know that I can see this right now? The next one, you're like, okay, they definitely don't know. It's somebody's bedroom. It's their closet. It's their bathroom. It's the mall. There's public places like gyms, hospitals, schools, prisons, women's health clinics. And then finally, there are tons and tons of videos of private bedrooms with live footage of sleeping babies.
It's gotta be super illegal, right?
It's questionable. A lot of these websites are not legal. They are accessing unencrypted video files, like unencrypted video files. If you get a home security system and you don't change the password, technically anyone can really access that. Just know any security camera where you can access it on your phone, so can anybody else if they really try. So there are websites that will broadcast these unencrypted home security cameras online. So it's kind of a gray area of visibility around people, and this is the most natural way to be trapped, which is fine if you're watching like the live footage of Times Square. To watch somebody else in their living room is kind of weird. I would call a therapist. I would call a police officer. But they can do it. And it's also this weird narrative hell that's security and cooking and try to make sure that they're not on these websites. They say it's very mixed signals. It's a mixture of complex feelings. But I will say that some of the darker ones, they really focus on baby cams, live footage of baby cams. Now, I imagine that this is probably illegal, but Jamie didn't know that. Jamie is a mom, and she just knows that her baby cam is a really cool feature where you can go home and make a baby cam. You make it look right, you make it look left, you just swipe on your phone, it'll turn the camera. Like if you make kids, fire, or some kind of silly
driving.
6 p.m. in Kotzebue, Alaska. 6 p.m. in Kotzebue.
What the fuck, bro? Oh my god. No, bro, go away. What are you even doing in here? That's it, bro. We're going. We're leaving. Oh, God. Let me see. Oh my god!
DC.
When was this?
Oh, this was a long time ago, decades ago. He's since passed. But this is probably one of the biggest mayoral scandals that there ever was. This is the first corruption and drugs. Now they're looking like Epstein files. So, they get Mayor Mary's Epstein files, and she's all under pressure. The other guy, and she raised his secret cameras where it's the FBI.
It's still raining.
Like the fact that the bitch sent me up.
Yeah, they love that he was very real about it, and they also love the fact that he was dealing with addiction, because I think a lot of people can relate to it. And again, it's like relationships.
Ooh, look at that view. They're called researchers, and you pay them anywhere between $1,000 to $80,000 to
Okay, bro, now only focusing on my YouTube channel and let's go. Lego. Oh my god. I really thought of something.
Okay, everyone. I'm super excited to tell you about the sponsor of today's episode, FX's A Murder at the End of the World, premiering November 14th only on Hulu. And we're going to dive deep into all the details about the plot and the amazing.
And had been through in this book, and it's a lot. So I'm gonna link that below. There's also a really good podcast by the BBC that I'm also gonna link. But with that being said, let's get into it. When Chris finally comes back home after being missing for 10 months, the whole family, their goal is we're gonna spend every second celebrating the rest of our lives together. Joy is probably not even the right word to use in this situation. It feels like a miracle, something that only happens in the movies. What do you mean you're back after being missing after 10 months? It showed the family every day needs to be celebrated. Life needs to be celebrated. So they threw this huge party for Chris's return. He's alive and well, you know? And Penny's watching as her mother is smiling at all the party guests. And then once everyone leaves and, the night quiets down, she decides to go into his room and tell her older brother how happy she is that he's back home, how much she missed him when he was missing. Chris is in bed, so he's either dozing off or already asleep. And Penny walks in, sits at the foot of his bed. She's like, Chris, and something's killing me. She reaches for the blanket that was covering her mother's face, pulls it down just a bit, and there is a total stranger sleeping in Chris's bed. And next to him on the nightstand was a rubber face mask that looked exactly like her brother. Penny would wake up screaming. This was a common nightmare that she would have since her mother went missing. But what's worse, when your dreams are like this vivid, this disturbing, or when you wake up and you realize, okay, that's a nightmare, but my reality is so much worse. Because Chris would not be coming back. And Penny never told her brother who was going to pay for it. She found the people on the boat on Facebook. She tracked them down and she starts writing them anonymous messages through an anonymous Facebook account. And she's writing pretty scary, ominous things to try to get them to respond.
She would write, please reply. I will tell you why I'm writing to you if you respond.
She's like, I can't appeal to these people with a conscience. I can't be like, hey, let's talk about what you did. Like, I'm going to forgive you. So she's thinking maybe they're scared of being arrested. They're going to freak out. They're going to want to talk to her, if only because they want to shut her up.
But she gets no response. So she sends another one. Why won't you reply? Because you already know why I'm writing to you? Do you know or do you remember the truth? I will not leave this matter alone. Penny Farmer had no idea that while she had been looking for them.
Yeah. So actually my number got leaked and then I had to change my number. But to change my number My number has never got leaked. Yeah. So actually my number got leaked, and then I had to. Yeah, I had to change my number. But to change my number.
Facebook. For her. Like, if you had to travel with strangers anywhere, where is the last place you wanted to be? In a box room, in a mansion, in an isolated cottage, in an elevator, yes. Or even a boat. You're out at sea for potentially weeks, only stopping to grab supplies. I mean, it's a very weird experience. You're cramped together, limited food, water, resources, probably limited patience at some point. And the open sea is known to be ruthless. Like the tension and the stress that you're going to start building in your body as you're sailing, as the waves get too high, the wind is too strong. You're bound to at least fight someone. There's just no way. I've never heard of anyone even going on a cruise without getting into a fight. On the coast of Belize in South America, there was a boat called the Justin Lee. Now, don't think of like a small, well-appointed boat. Don't think of like a mini yacht. Think of a 32-foot long wooden boat. It was basically a working sailing boat. No real bedroom, no real bathroom. The bedroom in this boat is like a small little cubby.
32 foot, that considered small.
It's large, but it's a working boat. So it's about 3 stories in length. But most of it is on deck. Yeah. So you're not talking about bedrooms, you're not talking about bathrooms. Where they're sleeping is you open this little cubby door and it's just a sheltered space. There's a cramped galley, kitchen in the back that you can cook in. But otherwise, nothing. I mean, no real bedroom, just sleeping in a cupboard with 5 strangers. And as for the bathroom, you would just leave a rope over the side of the boat. Hang off of it like Tarzan and just hoping that no shark wants to swim up to fight. So on the Justin Lee, there's 5 passengers. Of the 5 passengers, one of them is a suspected serial killer. The 5 passengers on the boat were 36-year-old Silas Wade Boston, boat owner, American, and honestly just like straight out of like the Wildlife type of character. Everyone said that he doesn't even seem like a real person. Like he just has this crazy big personality and maybe not in the best way. Loud, loves cheap rum, has this big, crazy, hearty laugh that just like vibrates the floor. He made friends everywhere that he went, and he was sharing tight buckets of wild adventures that he had gone on. And these sharp blue eyes like tears so deep into your soul, and it would be suspended. Like you know those people that are super drunk, or at least they seem super drunk, right? And then for a split second, they stare at you, and their eyes are so laser focused, you have this unsettling moment of like, wait, are they not drunk? I'm so confused. It's just unsettling. It's so sharp, you almost think, what was that? Why did they just look at you like that? Silas was known as a very charismatic, engaging person. He's not the most attractive guy out there, but he was a huge ladies' man. There were women all over him. Full on, he had been married 7 times. He had a ton of kids with 7 different women, and the people who knew Silas said he was fascinating watching this guy around women. He was 36. He was never particularly nice to women either. He just would tell these big jokes and he would throw these backhanded insults at them. But instead of being offended, these women would come and just take him out. It's really weird. Some of them said it like they just couldn't stay away. And then there were 2 Silas's sons. So, okay, well, 2 of the sons, he had more kids back in the U.S., but 2 of the sons were with both 13-year-old Vince and 12-year-old Russell. And then you have the couple from the United Kingdom, Chris Farmer and Hedda Frampton. Chris Farmer is a 25-year-old doctor. Hedda Frampton was a 24-year-old lawyer. And both of them had been dating since they were 14 years old. They're like the epitome true high school sweethearts. And they're out here just trying to stay rid of this world before their careers get crazy, before their schedules get cramped. And they were introduced to Silas and his boat by another British traveler. So from there, Silas is like, hey, where are you trying to go? I'm like, oh, we're trying to go to Honduras. Well, I'll take you there for $500. I'll also give you the chance to sail, swim, snorkel, like whatever you want to do if you want to throw everybody.
the first 2 weeks on the boat, it was great. Excitement, the chemistry between everyone is so Vince and Russell were so excited to have new people on board. They're 12 and 13, and they're just like sponges for knowledge at this age. Chris and Peta were teaching them about medicine, law, and then just like telling them random stories about their travels. Everyone having a good time. Peta also made these amazing eggs. The kid said, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was butter or like the way that she was constantly stirring the eggs. Her eggs would melt in your mouth. But then later when we tried to recreate it, it would just taste like rubber. Every night, they would snorkel and spear fish and lobsters to cook up. The kids would just jump into this like turquoise blue warm water. Chris was learning how to sail, but also reading his medical textbooks. Silas would lounge out on the sun until he's red in the face, drinking cheap rum. And Hedda would sit there and write these crazy lengthy letters to send back home. And she would send them out every time. She's telling her parents about the owner of the 2 kids. And she's writing, the charity around this. Like millions of catfish. Anything gets thrown in because the catfish go crazy. We're very peaceful. We can catch fish for supper. Catfish is really good, but it's also incredibly hot here. Tons of mangoes and papayas to eat, but no fresh vegetables, so I kind of miss those. Still, it's been a real thrill to be able to catch your own supper. During the night, the boat isn't very comfortable. It's a bit cramped for cooking and sleeping, but during the day, it's super. Just lying there, soaking up the sun while the boat flies along. And then the waters are a little choppy. It kind of feels like paradise. And so for a while, it's also pleasant. It's like lobster seafood oil and sardines on open waters. Until it wasn't. Somewhere along the line, things were getting weird. So there were actually 2 other people on this boat in the whole trip. There were 2 other people on the boat. But once they get to shore, randomly in the middle, they're like, you know what? I'm actually headed that way. I'm actually going to stay ashore. I'm getting a little sick of the sea. A lot of people wonder, did these 2 people see something? Silas, that maybe Chris and Peta didn't quite see yet. Penny, Chris's sister, thinks that Chris isn't naive. He's not the most trusting of people. He's a good person. He always believes in the good in others. But I think it really helped that Silas had his 2 sons here. But we start getting these glimpses that something bad is brewing on this boat. And it's all through Peta's letters. So she went from writing about how uncomfortable the boat is, but it's so worth it for the daytime views, the lounging, the sun. And then she starts writing about how it's starting to feel a bit claustrophobic. It's starting to feel like the walls are taking and cockroaches come out. We spray repellent every day, but they come out to die. I didn't mind cockroaches that much, but I like a little bit of space between me and them. Another reason that I really like it is 2 sons of Silas, 12 and 13. They behave more like 8 and 19. I find that I have.
Of course, they squabble most of the time, but
But on a boat, there's nowhere to go. What makes it worse is Silas forces and puts them down continuously when things aren't going quite right. And Peta ends her letter by talking about how she wants to get out of here, go to the US. She's gonna extend her vacation there. And ends the letter with, enough about the future. I don't think that there's any more news. Nothing much happens on a boat. Lots of love, Peta. A lot of things were about to happen on this boat. The kids noticed Silas had been drinking a lot more than usual. You know, the longer that they're at sea, the more that their dad just keeps chugging down these peak grades. And they really know their dad is drunk. So growing up under Silas was, it's just a trip. Like, it's really hard to tell if Silas is lying or not. Like, that's the general consensus people have about this man. It's really hard to tell even if he's about to explode and beat you up, or if he's genuinely just joking around when he says he's gonna kill you. He keeps everybody around him on edge perpetually. So, for example, he constantly told his kids that his first kill, his first murder, was when he was 8 years old. He would sit them down and say, you know, I loved throwing rocks. That was my favorite pastime. So I'd go to these train stations so that I could throw these big old rocks at the trains while they're moving. But one time, I hit a man without a home on the train station. He was waiting on the platform. And I saw him. He got hit in the head with the rock that I threw, slumped to the ground, dead. You'll never believe it. It's the most fun I've ever had. That's why I love war. He said that he went to volunteer in Vietnam and he loved killing, but Silas told his sons that he doesn't consider the Vietnamese people he killed to be actual people because they're just insert racial slurs. Apparently, he would also take a lot of great bodies in Vietnam and show them off later. He loved the carnage. That's what he said. So the kids, they have a bunch of these pictures where his pictures, where someone else was really kill someone at it. Years old. They have no idea if these stories are true or not, but one thing is for freaking certain. Even just the sound of their dad breathing was enough to scare them. They're both terrified of this man. So one day on the boat, the sun is shining so hard, they're getting sunburned. And Silas is getting drunk yet again. It's another long day. And Russell, the youngest one, he hears his dad screaming at him, Russell, get your ass overboard right now. Overboard meaning into the water. Yeah, he's like, get your ass overboard right now. Russell's like, what? You heard me. Get your ass overboard now. Russell said that he was so scared of what his dad would do if he didn't, so he just jumped overboard. He was like, okay, jumped into the water. And now he's just kind of treading the water, like floating there, staring up at the boat. Why am I in here? And the dad says, there's an anchor stuck. Unhook it. So the anchor is the part that holds the boat stable and it's all the way down. Russell takes a deep breath, goes down into the water, but the deeper he goes, you know, of course, the murkier it gets, the less he can see, and it's freaking him out. The anchor doesn't even look to be stuck. So he gets back up on the board, and he tries to pull the anchor up, because he's like, okay, the only way to prove to my dad that the anchor is not stuck is to pull the anchor up from the water. But as he's doing this, his back is turned to everybody, and he's like, pulling up the anchor, and his dad, these people really have nothing to do with the kids. They're screaming at him, stop, what are you doing? Chris eventually runs up to physically pull Silas off of his own kid and screams, stop it, leave him alone. And he whips around, and Silas says, don't you dare tell me how to raise my kids.
He turns back around and goes back to beating up Russell, so Chris grabs him, pulls him off again, and Silas loses his mind. He goes to punch Chris with everything that he has, so he's like